Sure.
Welcome to our video on digital platforms, where we will chat to Dino on some of the policy research and recommendations that he's done on digital platforms. So platforms as a business model are beginning to dominate both locally and globally, and we're seeing this taking place across many industry verticals, whether it's financial services, technology, FMCG, e-commerce. Increasingly, we're starting to see many businesses setting themselves up as platforms. And when you think of platforms, you can essentially think of them as, on one end, having consumers, on the other hand, having producers, and then you have the platform player playing an intermediary role where they connect consumers with producers, usually leveraging some proprietary technology. So Dino, given this growing trend, can you walk us through some of the characteristics that underlie these platforms?
Sure, thanks, Kagiso. So platforms have 6 common characteristics, being artificial intelligence capabilities, data analytics, low cost per transaction, platform access control, personalization, and scalability. We also see that data, network, and activity on platforms, known as a DNA model. Platforms generate large quantities of data. The source of the data varies from cases, profiles, devices, etc. The network effect occurs when the platform becomes more valuable to new users as more users join the platform. Platforms use various nudges and techniques to drive activity, such as psychology and gamification, on the principles of rewards by utilizing dopamine effects. This data is then utilized as input to create and offer a range of services that exploit the network effect, generating further user activity. This activity generates further data, creating a DNA loop. With respect to revenue models, the monetization is and can take various forms, such as admission fees, subscription fees, transaction fees, data monetization, and product and service fees.
Thanks, Dino. That's very interesting. And you touched on a number of characteristics that we need to be thinking about when looking at platforms. So when we bring some of these examples and features closer to home, please can you give us some examples that we're seeing in the South African fintech landscape and perhaps the level of maturity of some of these platforms against some of the best-in-class platforms globally?
Sure. Well, we see platforms in the insurance, lending, and investment space, to name a few common fintechs such as Rainfin, Pineapple, Uprise Africa. Local companies have quickly realized that physical assets such as stock don't scale as quickly as platforms. Examples range from mobile wallets from MTN Momo to on-demand insurance providers from Outsurance and Yashua. We see some very innovative platforms, but the level of sophistication with respect to AI and data analytics is a little way off from the super apps seen in Asia or marketplaces in Europe and the Americas.
Thanks, Dino. That's quite interesting for us to consider that local perspectives. And so in your research, you actually conducted interviews with some of these local players. What were your key findings?
SA platforms exhibit similar data, network, and activity characteristics seen with international counterparts, with varying degrees of success in harnessing its full benefits. Driving user activity on the platform is not as successful as international examples. Platforms have many benefits, such as driving increased access and financial inclusion, efficient personalized offerings, close to zero cost of production and distribution, often passed on to consumers by offering them more affordable products or perceived free products, increased convenience and a superior frictionless customer experience, highly scalable business models. But with these benefits also comes risks, such as anti-competitive behavior, like raising barriers to entry, increased switching costs, cross-subsidization, product bundling, and data breaches, privacy abuses, and data misuse. Platforms also need many users to better perform and deliver their promised benefits. It's difficult to regulate cross-border with the international nature of platforms, and new products and services can easily be slipped into product offerings beyond the scope of their licenses. It's hard to regulate the black box algorithms in the back end, and the lack of communication due to the complexity of the products make it really difficult.
Thanks, Dino, for providing us a very interesting snapshot of digital platforms in South Africa. It is evident that platforms are growing rapidly, and they are growing in importance both globally and locally. On one hand, they seem to promise compelling benefits for consumers who tend to be attracted to these value propositions. But on the other hand, they also introduce new risks that we will have to carefully consider. Thanks so much for joining us on this Platforms Knowledge Nugget, and we look forward to further engaging you as the industry on this particular topic.